here with Jessica, who's the organiser of Vegan Publuck.
My name is Jessica Stella Fox. I organise this the Vegan Publuck, and I also run a couple of other meetups, the Brixton Vegan Walkabout and Vegans Invade Soho.
What is Vegan Publuck?
Potluck, I think, is an American word. It's everybody brings a dish to share. The Vegan Publuck, of course, is a vegan version. And so it's actually inspired by Sean's event, which I've been going to for several years now. And but in this case, to make it different, to distinguish it on the schedule of events from the other events, I called it Publuck for obvious reasons. It's a potluck in a pub. And some people got confused and didn't actually know what this was and have turned up without dishes, and that's frowned upon. You bring a dish to share, you don't eat. You can have a drink, but you can't eat, basically. So it has to be vegan. Bring a recipe card and say, if you can, say, put it it's gluten-free or not, or has nuts in or whatever. And that's how it works. Everybody brings food, and you can take leftovers home, and you would have to eat for a couple of days.
Why did you set up Vegan Publuck?
People were asking about doing a potluck on the weekend, because we usually have one first Wednesday of the month as part of London Vegan Meetup. So it's a weekend one, and it's also easier because we've got a bit more time to eat and talk. And in the other potluck, they've only got 2 hours, and then we'll have to rush to the pub. There's a bit of rush at the end, so this gives us time to eat, to just gradually clear away, and then and then hang out in the pub afterwards. We don't have to go to another place afterwards. So it works on several different ways. That it's at the weekend. So I was expecting more people to turn up at the weekend, but a steady little stream of basically between the lowest being about 10 or 12, 14, to the most I had was about 26 people turn up. And so it's a nice little group. I think if any more than that, I'd have to find a bigger pub, of course. So it's a good, solid number. About 20-something is nice. Actually, it's quite manageable, really. But I don't have many more tables anyway.
What do you find enjoyable about Vegan Publuck?
It's just lovely. All these events are really warm and friendly. And it's a lovely social occasion. People are sharing food. It's a really important thing, isn't it, when you share food? And there is something really lovely about it. And there's lots of people also discovering exactly. People say, what do vegans eat or what do vegetarians eat? I say, come to a potluck or a publuck, and then you'll see what we eat. You can do a vegan version of anything, really, practically, almost. And I was just rambling to somebody about making vegan feta, and it's just so simple and delicious. And my mum made it, who had been vegetarian for many years. And we were recently experimenting with it, and she said, why would you want feta when you've got this crumbly ground almond-based recipe? It's just so simple, and it's just delicious. And it matures like real cheese, and you put a bit of lemon in it, and coconut cream, and there's so many ways. It's about thinking and being inventive.
Do you have to be a good cook to be a vegan?
Not necessarily. You can follow very simple recipes, and when I realised how simple it was to make cupcakes, for example, it's just I hadn't even thought about making cupcakes before, but it's just so simple because you put all the ingredients together, and it's quite wet ingredients in a jug. And it involves just cup measurements, in fact. A cup of this, a cup of that, following an actual recipe, don't just quote me. But then you put it all in a jug, you pour that into individual little cupcake, paper cupcake things, holders, tray things. And then you put it in a muffin tin, put them in the oven for 20 minutes, and they rise. All you have to do while that's doing that is you mash it the right quantity of icing sugar and cocoa powder and margarine or whatever you're doing. You could put vanilla essence to make whatever flavour of icing. You mash that. That takes a little bit of arm strength. Just mash that. And then you've got icing, vegan icing. And then once you're ready, even if you're not a good piper, I don't have a piping thing. So what you do is you just sort of lump it on, try not to eat it all, and you lump it onto the cupcakes. You've got vegan cupcakes. Let them cool first, because otherwise it'll just be slipping everywhere. So, but yeah, I've experimented with cupcakes, and I made two faces of friends of mine, the vegan tart. I made their faces in cupcakes because I'm an artist, you know. So I was like, I'm doing like food art. So I made their little faces with their distinctive hearts on their hats when they were trading in Brixton. And so I used freeze-dried raspberries. I think we had, and I sprinkled it on their hat to the red, and then dark chocolate for the eyes, and I just poking and. So yeah, once you get more confident, you can start melting chocolate and doing art with it, and you know, and just follow recipes or make things up once you get more confident. You know, just find what you like to taste, and then read a few recipes if you need to, and then just start playing around. You know, like I made up a pesto using coconut because I didn't think about making, you know, ground almonds with basil to make a pesto. I used what we had in the fridge. It was coconut mashed up with basil, with garlic, I think, and oil, and that's delicious as a sort of pesto. So just experiment with whatever you've got in the cupboard.
Is it important for vegans to know other vegans?
Yeah, we're lucky being in London because there's so many people here, and you are going to meet. The group was set up. This particular group has had different incarnations over the last 20 to 30 years, and it started off, you know, with just friends and stuff, and different societies. And you know, before the internet, it was just like notice boards and newsletters and things. And now, with the age of the internet, it's even easier. Particularly in London, in cities, it's a bit easier. But even in big places like Brighton, I heard somebody say that they didn't have as many meetups. It's to do with density, I guess, and to do with organisation as well, partly in some cases. But basically, the vegan group was set up, and Sean writes on his event as a safe place, that Vegan Drinks is a safe place for vegans to come and not feel like pissed off by people, like they go out with meat eater friends, or they don't have any friends, or they don't have any vegan friends. And when you meet people who are like-minded, you don't have to answer silly questions like, where do you get your protein, or what the hell do you eat? Because it's just, that's the point. And it seems, I do get the point that some people are like, oh, you're like a little clique, oh, you don't need to go to a social group. I don't go to social groups. Somebody said to me it was not to do with the vegan group. But yeah, it's a funny thing because I didn't think about joining a social group a couple of years ago. But then when little circumstances led me to joining the group, I soon really loved it. You know, my first Vegan Drinks I went to, didn't know anybody. And I knew one person I was going to meet there to volunteer at a festival. But then I didn't see that person until an hour or two later, because I made eye contact with a friendly looking woman. She's half Swedish, half English. We got talking. I said it was my first event. And I had a chat with her for a while. She went off to talk to people later on. I met somebody else. I met the woman I was going to volunteer with. I met some other people. We got talking, and you started to meet people. And I was introduced to the MP who's trying to work on the Animal Welfare Party getting further in the upcoming elections, Vanessa Hudson. And she's one of the first people I met. And she remembered me several months later when we met again. And so, yeah, you meet a lot of people, and it's a lovely group of people to meet. It's not just about being vegan, it's a safe group to be with. When you go on a night out, you go and see your friends. The point is, yeah, I think it is important because then, you know, when you make vegan friends, you don't feel isolated, you don't feel, you know, but unfortunately that is London I'm talking about. But there are some places where they're not so lucky. So people email and correspond. Or in one case I saw on Facebook just the other day, somebody said there's a woman who can't get out, and they asked could somebody phone her and talk to her and like make her feel, you know, just be social on the phone. Even if you don't even have to meet her, you could meet her for a coffee or something. But I thought that's really nice. It's like a lovely community. It's not exclusively about being vegan. It's about being compassionate. I think that's part of, a lot of vegans share that, being compassionate, and also, you know, it's about helping people, and it's a really positive thing, you know, because we're all coming from a good place.
Do you help with any other events?
Yes, I host 3 events. So I do the Vegan Publuck, the Brixton Vegan Walkabout, and Vegans Invade Soho. But I have helped out and still help out, and sort of, you know, I do this anyway. I talk to new people, sort of a co-host, vegan drinks. You know, Sean puts his arm around me and says, look, this person's new to the group, and we go around and meet people and stuff. And so yeah, I'm sort of co-host, I just talk to people, you know, at Vegan Drinks, and I talk to people at Vegan Potluck. But also I helped Sean. Sean asked me to help him out with his charity event that he did for Sea Shepherd, which was called Scape for Oceans, and that was in March last year. So I helped him out with the kiosk and, you know, just being there and talking to people, and I did a few other things as well. I helped out a friend called Trina's Delicacies, and I was at Veg Fest. It was on the stall selling cupcakes, and then I was trying to get a job actually, and I ended up working on the launch party of a place called Lab Organic, and that was a good day. So I gave them a hand.
How long have you been vegan?
Well, I've been vegan over 10 years, but it started in 1995, and some people laugh at this little story, but this is the story. I'd eaten meat up until a certain point, and I used to eat it once a year, and blah, blah. I only ate bacon because my mum's been vegetarian all her life, so she didn't really want us eating meat after a certain point. So I saw the film Babe, and the first 5 minutes of that film, if you don't know it, Babe is this little pig, and later in the film he becomes a sheep pig, you know, and he has this farm. It's lovely, it's a charming film. He was going to end up on the dinner plate, but he doesn't, because the farmer falls in love with him. Anyway, so it's a kids' film, what the first 5 minutes of that film is the mother. It's actually quite a subtle scene. It's actually shorter than I remember, but it left an impression on me that made me vegetarian, because the mum is taken away from the pig. Babe is seen with tears streaming down his eyes, and that was it for me as far as meat was concerned. And then my taste buds just changed. I stopped liking fish. I should never really had dairy in my diet because of my eczema. And also, I just got sick of eggs. Eggs make me feel ill, especially when they're being fried. So it's very natural for me going vegan, because it's just something that happened gradually towards the end of the 90s. Then, as I got into Moby, he was definitely partly an influence. It was also naturally happening, but also that helped. You know, I read his essays in Play, and he talked eloquently and you know, not condescendingly about, you know, his beliefs and his opinions and animal rights, and that's part of my influence. And it was stop-start to begin with, and then from, you know, so I can say for just over 10 years I've been properly vegan. And then the first few years, you know, actually I've been, because then the alcohol was still sort of, yeah, technically, so I wasn't 100% vegan, because sometimes I would just drink alcohol and not think about it. But then I got more stringent in the last 3 years, and now I'm basically, you can't say that you're 100% vegan, about 99.9999% vegan, give or take some minor thing that might, you know, you might accidentally kill something, you know. But yeah, there's no turning back for me, because it just, yeah, that's who I am.
Do you have any tips for going vegan?
Come to vegan meetups, and also there's the vegan meetup and the London vegan meetup. But there are, if you live outside of London, then there are other local groups. If there isn't one, if you know some veggies, set up your own one. Try and advertise it on Facebook, or put a message on Twitter, or find a local group and say, are there any veggies out there who want to go for a meal? And you may find some closet vegans or veggies, as it were, that are hidden in your community. Even if you can't get to a meetup, maybe leave a message on a message board on London Vegan Meetup or similar group, and just write and ask for advice. And there's a lot of friendly people out there. And join websites like VeggieVision, that's VeggieVision dating, or Valentia is a good social one. And then join the Facebook groups, and you should be able to find people out there and support, and then you won't get the stupid questions. And I think veganism is a positive thing, and it is possibly the future, because there's lots and lots terribly wrong with the meat industry, and that's the whole point. There's a lot wrong with it, and it's morally wrong as well, and it's taking life. I think there was a figure of 65 billion animals are killed every year. I mean, that doesn't make any bloody sense, does it? And people could argue the toss that there are certain places in the world where it's difficult to live, to get food, and people fish, or they, you know, you've got tribal culture. That's a different thing, different sort of argument, but it's just about thinking. It's about thinking and then more positive, compassionate future.